Hey guys, welcome in. And for a long time coming, ever since the new 8.0 update, and even before that, I've had a lot of people ask me to do a video on the different spells, available spells, all that type of thing. So, since at the moment, spells are super, extremely limited in the way you can get them. I believe that you can only get them from like the spell reward packs if they still have them when you're leveling up through the levels. And if they don't have them, I believe it's only through tower, and that's only certain spells. So there are some that are unavailable, and event spells, of course, and event spells. So I want to go through, talk about all these individually. We'll try a few of them out, and then I'm just going to first speak on what makes them good and what makes them bad. So at the moment in the game, the most important thing, just like with characters, is speed. Speed is the amount of times you can use something is one of the most important things. So with all of these, one thing I don't like is that there is no gauge on speed, how long things take in this new version of the game. Nobody knows exactly how much. By using them, you can get a good feeling of how fast they charge, but it's not actually stated. And I think that's one thing that kind of needs to change. It needs to be very clear, show exactly how things charge or how long they will take, because it's a very important factor on what you want to use. So at the moment, some of the quickest ones are the aliens, the claw, dropping all these little aliens onto the field. So the claw, zap, all of these ones will be one of the quickest. Everything's charging at the same speed, and they also do quite decent damage. And so being able to use them fast and over generally means you can get a whole lot more damage than, say, METEOR, which takes quite a while to charge, even though, say, let's compare the damage. So this does 125 plus 30 per play level. So at level 60, you are looking at, what, 3 times 6, which is 18 times double 10s. So you're looking at 1,800 plus damage plus the other part of the equation. So that compared to 48 plus 24 per play level, the damage is lower on this, but you can use it more. So it's a whole lot more worth using this, and especially if you have a chance, we can squeeze this in more. And if, say, the lineup of character moves is yours, this one is charged, METEOR would nearly be charged, but it's not charged until the end of your attack, and then there's a whole bunch of your opponents. You would have been better to let off one of these and then have it charged up again by the end of your opponent's attacks. So if you guys are getting what I'm saying, like, you can use it more than saying having to wait so long, because you can't always use it as soon as it's charged. You have to wait around for one of your next clean turns to come around. So if that is making sense, I hope so. So at the moment, spells, the speed of the spells is one of the most important things, and then the effectiveness of it then comes in. They're pretty much hand in hand. But so I'm gonna just go through from top to bottom. Now, the clock tower has had a little slight change when it was first introduced. But so pretty much what this does is, when this is ready, it'll use the clock tower. 2 turns later, the opponents will be turned into a pumpkin, and it's got 50% chance for this is at max. I'm just letting you know this is at max. So just take it for granted. Just if you don't have it max, just look at just above there of what would actually do. So you're getting extra reductions at max level as well as more defense reduction. So that pretty much means you turn them into a pumpkin. They have a whole lot less defense, 30% less defense, and so pretty much they're just gonna take more damage and they can't attack while they're a pumpkin. So it gives you some free attacks, boom, 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 boom. But the problem is this takes so long to charge. I find that you're nearly at the end of the match by the time this is ready. It's only affecting a handful of characters by that time. And I'm finding personally it's less useful by the time it's charged. I'd rather do all that damage, knock out a few characters, and then only have less to deal with than eventually turn a whole bunch into a pumpkin. And then they can't do anything. So it's just one of those things that it's a bit too long, is what this is. So next along is the Conjuring Cauldron. So I've made mention of this and shown it in another video. And if you haven't seen that, check out the the lockdown video. This is actually just a good thing to use, because any of these summoning ones, so this one, Bucket of Soldiers, Tiger Tower, Trigger Tower, when you can summon something, it can actually stay there and continue repetitively have turns while you're then charging to use it again. That is amazing, because then, especially with this one, you're guaranteed to add 1-2 extra magics on, so you're getting more magics. I'm up to max is 3+ with a chance to get increase the speed meter, so you can have more turns. So it means you can use more abilities, have more turns, and if you have specific strategies, or if you, it's just good to get more of your abilities off, because you can do more damage generally. Some abilities are terrible, but one good thing and one tip with this is that it only charges moves that have been used. So if you get this very much on your, so you have one of your characters use an ability, it becomes available the next turn, you can pop it down, don't use an ability, it'll only charge that first character's ability that had been used. Or if you use both the two characters, it'll have like a chance that it'll conflict either one, or both, like 2 to 1 or 1 to 1, whatever it might be. But that's a good little tip. So sometimes if you have a certain ability you want to use again, you can actually do things in your favor to get that to work. So that, I find this is pretty cool. Duke Kaboom. Hey, he's awesome. He does quite a decent amount of damage, and he isn't too bad to charge. So I would, comparing him and the Meteor, he does a good amount of damage, maybe not quite as much, so per player level is down a little bit from Meteor, but he also, I think he charges slightly faster, or maybe they are the same, but he also adds invulnerable to opponents, or 75% chance. So what that does is that means the next attack on them are going to be a crit, so you end up doing a whole lot more damage. It can be like another couple of thousand damage, so that makes him super valuable, and he just looks awesome when he's flying in. Fairy Slumber, so inflict sleep for 2 turns on a target opponent, and 1 for one of the adjacents. So that could be good in a lockdown, kind of like the one that I was using. Maybe I should try that actually. I haven't actually tried this in a lockdown. But the one bad thing about this is any kind of AoE just wakes up sleep. So it's like, boom, gone, they're woken. And it's like, although it does decrease speed meter. So if you guys want to see me do it a little, when I get a couple more characters up, I'll try that little lockdown deck with a couple of different spells and characters. If you guys want to see that, let me know below. Iago, Foul Play. This is probably one of the top tier spells at the moment. He does a decent amount of damage, so 50 plus 38 per player level. So that is actually Very, very good damage. He only swoops down along one line. It is not a mass AoE, and he can purge all of their stockpiled effects, and he can give it to your characters, which is amazing. So that is great. Oh, if Jafar is an ally, he can also guaranteed to grant a call. I did not know that because I've never had Jafar before. That is cool. That could be real fun to run with Jafar. So you're guaranteeing Jafar whatever you want to steal. That'd be cool. But in the whole thing, he does a whole lot of damage, and you get to choose effects that you want to get rid of. And especially if someone's been saving up and getting stockpiling effects and things like that, you can just mine, and it's nasty. So Infinity Sided Dice is cool in concept. It used to be really cool in the old style. It had a chance for it to be free and free of cost. And so that means you can use it over and over. Whereas now it takes, this is a very long charge time. A very, very long charge time. You can apply 3 to 4 random helpful effects to your teammates and then bad effects to your opponent, which can be good, can be bad, but it's random and it takes so long to charge, and it's like you might get one off in a match. I'd rather have something purposeful. Like if this is random and it does that, like I want to be able to use it a lot to make the use of it. Meteor, here we go. 125 plus 30 per play level. Ends up doing quite a decent amount of damage, but that's all it does. It's a decent amount of damage, and it takes a long time to get there. So I'd rather ones that do half that damage, and I can use them twice as much. Yeah, that's just the theory of it. So Peter's Shadow. Now this is pretty cool. You can summon a shadow for a teammate to grant haste for 2 turns. So whoever you're summoning, they come in, they've got 45% of the stats of the original and get haste, so you can have a couple of quick attacks. This works amazingly with characters that have special effects onto their basic attacks. They have really good basic attacks, but sometimes you don't always use this character's basic attacks because their abilities, or you want to use their abilities and you don't use their attacks much. This can be really good, and then it can be a way to keep using really good effects, or having a character with super good stats that you just want a second double up of, because 45% of stats can be potentially good. Snowies, 45% to do stun, or 40% to do stun on one character and then slow another. And then you get to inflict slow for 1 turn to 3 other random opponents. So you get to like slow down the board. You get to attack more, they get to attack less, change the order of turns. That's the whole point of this, and it is good. It is good. Now, the log flume is what it is called here in New Zealand on like theme parks, where you sort of nose go down to the Splash Mountain. So this one is another one that does a decent amount of damage. And then you decrease the magic cost of all the opponents by 1, and then 50% chance to increase harmful durations. This is another very long charging. This one used to like just drop the speed meter of the opponents and inflict slow, and then it means like you could control the speed of everything with this, and that was far too OP and broken. And so I'm glad it had to change. But the problem with now is that it's changed so it's so slow to use this. By the time you use this, often most of the opponents have already used their abilities, and what's another turn once you've already used it all up. So maybe it can be used well in a bad effect, harmful effect team, and go increasing all the durations. That could potentially have a lot more use, but you'd have to find use for this. Haste used to be OP, just super quick to get it, drop it, doubling all your speeds. You have unlimited times in a row, then you can by the time you've had all your turns, you will probably potentially do enough damage to use it again, and over, and then your opponent doesn't get turned. And that was so broken. Not fun to play it at all, because it was who got this Sugar Rush ready first, pretty much won the game. And so they've heavily nerfed it, but the problem now is that it's super slow. You get halfway through the match before you even get a haste, and by that time, it can help, but depending what other spells you could have already had help from as well. So 40% speed meter you gain, and then 60% chance for opponents to have a basic. So when you drop this, they have a chance to go rush out and attack something, which is another one that's good with characters that have good special basic attacks. Claw, I've already mentioned him. He just quickest, like damage is okay, but you get to do way more the more you get to use it. Now Thunder Mountain Boom, another one just like the tower in the first one, super long to charge, and then you get boom on all 2 turns for all opponents. You usually only get this at nearly end of the match, and only sometimes it actually takes an effect, and it does a decent amount of damage when it goes off. But for the amount of time you have to wait for it, I just feel it's like it should be a little bit quicker to charge, in my opinion. Although it's got like you hit damage, a decent amount of damage, 60 plus 44 of this play level, and then stun and remove 1 magic charge. But the problem is that you generally only get near the end of the match, so it's a 1 use. Ends up being more of a finisher. So I'd rather try and finish things before I need a finisher, if that makes sense. And that's kind of like the whole theory about it. Now, Wild Imagination, awesome one, 60 plus 15 per player level, but the real good part about this is that it inflicts a heal block, but also continuous damage. So they're going to take a whole lot of damage, and they're blocked from healing. So if you're adding up both of these, it's 60 plus 15 per play level, but then also 36 plus 22 for play level, and then over 2 turns, so it gets double turns of this. And that can end up doing a lot of damage, and it charges pretty good. Zap, fastest charging, 48 plus 12 per play level, but the thing is, it hits 3 to 5 times. So you're getting that damage 3 to 5 times, so it ends up stacking out to be a decent amount of damage, and then each attack has 50% chance to chain to ones near it. So you either go like big amounts of damage and chains. So it can be luck if it's going to keep chaining, or if you can potentially get unlucky in it not chaining very well. Now this Blue Fury Magic, this is the best spell in the game at the moment. Cleanse all harmful effects from all allies and apply helpful effects. So the great thing is, and it also increases speed meter by 30% once you get it to level 3, and then at level 4, which I don't have, I didn't max out. This used to be Poison Apple back before the game changed, and then it turned into this, and I was just starting to head my way to maxing Poison Apple, but it was never a priority for me because I was always pretty average. It was a really good basic one when you first start, but by the max level it was kind of never use it, and I was just ticking my way, so I'm there like 25 out of 40, and you can no longer get this anymore. And I have a feeling when they rebalance it, or the amount's going to go up, and yeah. So what I'm missing out is 50% chance for harmful immunity. So not only do you cleanse your whole team, but you can potentially have harmful immunity as well. And as I was mentioning in other videos, being able to just drop this, wipe any bad effects that your opponents have. Like, this is one bad thing I don't like about it, is that it's so good, but it's just unfairly bad in a way that everything that someone could have been working up for, giving you bad effects, just gets wiped just like that. And it's like, come on. But I mean, when you use it, it's super good. So it's one of those ones, if you have it, use it. Bucket of Soldiers, you summon it, and then as you perform basic attacks, it'll send out a soldier to then go up and do damage, which is quite long to get this charge. But the good thing about this, you summon it, and then every time you basic attack, it doesn't matter that it takes long to charge, because while you're because it takes long to charge, you're using abilities, abilities has pretty much no effect. These guys won't run out of attack. But by the time you've used abilities and charged this up, you've got your basic attacks ready. Or you've got nothing else but to use but basic attacks. And then this helps with that. And then you just go out attack, and then they attack, and then more and more and more damage. And then if you're running water, you can attack twice. So real good. Another one of the best ones in the game at the moment, Golden Hammer. So you can revive one of your dead members 20% value, which you couldn't get 25 at the very, very, very end. But also you can get your speed meter increased by 25%. And as I've said, speed is everything in this game. So getting a character back and then getting more speed, that can be nasty. And there are strategies, teams around, if you guys want to see, I will do a video on teams around to use with this. Now, Mortal Potion, it charges pretty decently, it does decent damage, and then it also, this works on both teams, so it can help you cleanse your team and also add in bad effects to your opponents. So, deal Purge, purges all helpful effects from all opponents, and apply the opposite harmful effect for 2 turns. So that is pretty cool. If an opponent has no helpful effect, 50% chance to inflict helpful immunity, so they can't get any good helpful effects. And then if Hades is an ally, create a copy of continuous damage. And so if there's someone with continuous damage, just boom, copies it, everybody's got it. And that can be nasty. And then at max level, extra 25% chance for helpful immunity to come. So that becomes pretty good. 75% chance is pretty much guaranteed to happen. Prince John's taxes. Reduce the costs. Oops, that's not what I was meaning to do. Let's go down, nearly at the end. So reduce the costs of you reduce the speed meter, and then you can increase decrease the magic of one opponent's for 3 times. So it's kind of like the opposite to the conjuring pot for the opponent. So you can go and take their speed and the use of their abilities. And then if Robin Hood is a teammate, 50% chance to increase his magic for a random ally. So that is actually decent little synergy. If you're trying to lock down, I want to make a skill lockdown team, and to either lock down your opponent's skills, and just by increasing and decreasing speed meters, or but then it's all speed meters, not really abilities. But hey, I'll make it work. Trigger 150 plus 100 per player level. That does decent damage. It does very decent damage, and as I said before, having it being summoned and continually attacking is great. And then the continuous damage is actually at max level. 50% chance for continuous damage just puts it over the top. It's good. But the thing is, it's weak. At max level, it takes like two hits to destroy it. Someone can summon it, and then, hey, get rid of it, and it's gone. So, although pairing with Sheriff Nottingham does have bonuses, and that you can find use for it. Dumbo was arena special reward at one stage. By playing certain matches in arena, getting up to certain tiers, you get to unlock more tokens. And I nearly got to the next level 3, and I was 2 tokens off. Such a shame. But I would love to have level 4. That level 4, I don't know if anyone's got level 4, but I can't wait to get level 4, because completely decrease the speed meter of the opponent. Whoo! This one comes in and gives blind, which is awesome. Gives it blind for 2 turns. But the bad thing about using him is it's so easy with people with wand, just go boop, no more blind, gone, and now it's like a waste of use. But Dumbo is super good. Now the Mufasa, he gives either offense up, offense up, defense up, or crit support. So depending on what kind of type of character you are, he gives it. And if you're wearing Simba, he gets all of those effects. So if you're running this with Simba, it is actually good. But aside from that, it takes a long time to charge. But because Simba gains more defense the longer the battle's gone, and then he gains all this as well, it can end up making him nearly unbeatable at the end stages of battles, as long as someone doesn't come along and just purge him. But nasty. It can be nasty that way, but that's pretty much it. Now, the Headless Horseman, this was the October's reward last year. In the arena, I believe it was as well. And so deal up to 50% 50 damage and 24 for play levels, but it only inflicts fear, which is kind of like, fear is now kind of pointless. It's not the biggest or best status effect. It used to make people run away, but now there's no run anywhere they can run, so it gives them an effect that they can't avoid or evade or other things like that. So if you got like a super OP ability that you cannot have missing in the future, maybe this might have some synergies or more synergies, and there are other characters that do run with fear, which I can look into in the future for this. 50% chance to inflict silence, which is nice. And at max level, another 25%, so 75% to get silence will be very nice. And silence is good. Another like ability locking down. Now, Honey is locked. Drop it on, and then they get slow, and then you're going to increase the slow by 2 seconds. Oh, wait, they've actually... it's still by seconds. This is like the old game format. Because it used to say by 2 seconds it would have to be like 2 turns, but then by 2 turns, it's not going to be 2 turns, it's going to be like 1 turn of slow, then plus maybe 2 turns of slow or something like that. So they've still got to fix this before this even comes to the game. So be interesting to see what that happens. Oh, random side dice used to use a random other spell. It wasn't just giving effects. So that was one real cool thing about it, is that it used to use one other of these ones in here with a chance of it being free of cost, and so being able to use another one again, which is pretty cool. So those are the spells and what we've got there. I want to jump in and quickly do a couple of matches with a couple of different ones. So this is the team I did the video on last time. I'm just going to go jump in and change a few people out, just so I can have a quick game. And then, so number one, you've kind of had a little look at the wand and the pot in my other videos, and if you want to go see, you can go see it. But what I want to do is just have a quick little show of, like, minions is pretty much speaks for itself. So I want to show like Dumbo and I'll say Imagination. Let's jump in those. They're really good. Oh, and I got someone straight away. And it's going to be bad because this is exactly why these are really good, but it's bad. Because of I am absolutely sure he is going to be running Wand. So I'm going to see if I can bait out Wand before I can use these. And he is playing this, Mr. Chris. So, and he's going to choose who he's going to attack. He's going to, be trying to get rid of Big Bad Wolf. Understandably as well. And he is doing like just what I said. So there we go. Imagination is charged, but I don't want to use it because of he's going to have a wand. And here, like... so there we go, wand. He used wand, so now I might be able to use it. But now, because I didn't use it, so if I used it, he would have got rid of it that very next turn. Since I didn't use it, now I've got to wait for him to use it again. Now he's charging up, so he's going to have his wand ready again. And that is where wand is so OP. And this is what I mean about ones that take a long time to charge, this is where it can be bad, because your opponent can jump in and use things, and then by the time I'm saved it, and by the time it's my turn again, especially when he's knocking out characters, then it's gone. And that is how important speed altering spells are. And this is pretty much why not a lot of other spells get used late game, or it's important to have at least one of them, like, you be using that yourself. And then if you're running a team that is high speed, like Aladdin, Hades, Hops, it's nasty. It's nasty. And that's why generally I'd put, like, at max level, when other people have the wand, it's pretty much a must that you need to run that, just so you can get rid of other effects and other things. And I didn't even get to showcase what I was trying to showcase there. So let's jump in. I'm going to swap this on for Splash Mountain, and this time we'll see. But this is exactly what I mean, is that at max level, there's no point to using a lot of other spells if they're not altering and changing what you're doing. So, like, speed-wise, because as you saw with Chris right there, that was a perfect example on Wand of how OP it is, and how important it is. Just go out, do a whole lot of damage, charge everything up, and then all of a sudden you've changed the whole way the game is going to work. So unlimited turn, that's one thing I don't like about this whole this form of team-based, or turn-based, not team-based, is that I don't like that the turns are so easily influenced and changeable, that it doesn't really seem fair, if that makes sense. Is that things change so easily, and at least but see, this is another thing about what I mean about super long charging spells. Splash Mountain only just became available to use then. Dumbo is still charging. So now I can Splash Mountain, you'll see down in the corner, like, all their speed meters are low. But I've got to do this much damage before Dumbo's still not even charged yet, and now after this one, Dumbo will be charged, and now I can come in, he can attack them all, do a decent amount of damage, and blind them for 2 turns. But I could have just used some increasing speed spells, or super fast charging spells, and done a lot of damage, and just over and over and over increased the other meters. So the spell charge meter is based on how much damage you do and damage you take and things like that. So one important thing, so if I was to change this for, say, Zap, because Zap and minions are the fastest charging, if I was to do this, you can use a fast charging, high damaging spell to help charge not only your other meters, and so get yours faster. So running 2 slow spells at the same is just, at the moment, just doesn't work. As you saw with that first match, you just can't do it. So here, you notice, look at the bottom, and look at every time I do and take damage, you'll see the meters just going up. So if I just don't charm this turn and do damage, boom, Zap is nearly filled up, whereas Dumbo is not even at half. So if I do this attack, boom, Zap is now full. I can go in, I'm just not even caring about who's next. I can go in, help to charge things, do more damage, and then you'll notice that I'll probably get Zap around about the same time we get Dumbo. And that is just the way it is currently working. So there, Dumbo's still not charged. If I do this attack, boom, boom. Now I get Dumbo, and then I'll get Zap as well. Right after. Oh, not quite right on. But that is where having these different fast charging ones is better. Like, now I'm getting boom, 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 attack. There's absolutely no need to do that just then. But if you guys see what I mean about the speed and the charging of spells, you can help a slower charging one with a faster charging one for it to come up slightly quicker by doing more damage. Whereas if I was just to do other types of ones, then it can end up taking a whole long time. So let's just jump in. We will go for and use, I'll show you guys the boom, and I'll swap over and do the shadow. So this is one thing I don't like, is that, as I was mentioning, you kind of need to use a fast charging, but as well as like a speed adjusting, something like that spell, and then maybe one other, or you need to use two like that to be competitive at the moment, or when things do start getting competitive for you. And that is, I'm just using all my AoEs at the moment just to try and charge them up as fast as I can. I'm not bothering with, as I said last time, the charms and other things like that. So I'm just gonna just burning off AoEs. And as you see, like, if you can run an AoE team, you can get people right down before you even get to use a spell. And that right there is just kind of like, it's not that great. So I'm going to use my clone on Wolf, because Wolf has an amazing ability. So I'm just gonna yet again just do damage and like this. Heal, that's fine. I'm actually, if he didn't have Aerial there, like, Aerial probably just helped me out to try and spell this. So he's gonna have 2 turns now, and so I can actually control this, and 1 turn, and then he's gonna have to go through another turn. But I can usually knock them all out before the second turn comes around if I wasn't actually going for it and attacking things heavily. You can do that. And boom, Shadow. See, now this is where like Shadow works so well, with boom, 1 knocked out before the spell even comes, and then attack, another knocked out, another nearly knocked out. And this is where it starts to become like, there's absolutely no point. There's absolutely no point to having these, because you can't even use them. So if that were to go around and get 2 turns after it takes a long time to charge and then does this, then you would actually see a decent little boom, a lot of damage come by. But then another thing is, if people are using Wand, boom, one of their turns, one of them can take damage, and then they can use Wand to heal everyone else's bad effects. And you've just wasted a whole game waiting for the Boom Mountain just for it to be cleansed. And that's where I see a problem at the moment. With all these other ones, there needs to be major adjustments still to the way all of this is working. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense. So the top tier at the moment, I would say, will be Iago. Iago, definitely top tier. Iago and Wand and Hammer. Those 3 will be like the top tier. Then after that, you'll probably get a few, like maybe Bucket of Soldiers, the Conjuring Pot, Cauldron, and then like Minions and the fast high tier damage ones, and Imagination, and then a few of the other slower ones coming in after that. But then slower ones that then have a bad effect, they just get cleansed. And at the moment, it's a little bit of a waste. So hopefully that makes some sense. If you guys want to see individual spotlights on these, I can do individual videos, but I just wanted to have a whole overview one for now. And I can go and do singular ones in the future. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you guys like to see how some of these work. And we'll see you all in the future.